Well, I want to talk about the issue that you surfaced a few minutes ago, and that I've heard this from people. Mike, I'm 45 years old. I'm not much older. I'm 20 years older than some of my new teammates. And what motivated me 20 years ago and made me hungry and wanted to be a meat eater. I wanted to be the salesman of the year. I wanted to buy a Porsche. I wanted to get, I was self-motivated. I'm in a sales job. I'm here to make sales, kick ass. Like the stuff that lit me up and fired me up doesn't seem to matter to these people. And I always probe a little deeper and I say, look, your generation, this was a couple of founders of a staffing company who were ex-K-Force people. Uh-huh. And I remember when they were young guys that came out into K-Force. And at the time, now those two were good. They were actually high producers eventually. But I remember the older guys saying, man, these, it's 2002. These young people, they ain't, I said, so they were saying that about you 20 years ago. Look what happened to you. High producer, then you guys split away, started your own company, and you're rock and rolling now. Yeah. And I tell them, I want to get your opinion on this. Well, I do think it's a generational thing, and I think it's a fair statement to say what motivates them is different than what motivated you, and certainly what motivated me as a baby boomer and all of that. I say that there are still meat eaters out there in this young population, 20-year-old, 25 years old. And if trained and they may need deeper explanations, but if trained and mentored, you can still, it's all in selection, I think, Greg. The selection of the guy, I think you got to look harder now, and you have to have a finer selection process. But there are still people out there that are going to go in sales jobs that are money motivated. And I say that in all the best sense. You want the guy in the sales role that, yes, I do want to be rich by the time I'm 30. Yes. I say they're out there. But you got to find them, and you might have to pan for that gold a little bit more than in past generations. What's your experience?
Totally agree. No, I totally agree. It's easy to make some generalizations, and you certainly do see some of it, maybe more frequently than you did in the past would be my kind of reflection. But it's still there. The meat eaters absolutely exist. They're all shapes and forms and genders and races. And I think you make a really, really important point. And that's how do you attract, how do you find, and then how do you select the types of folks, types of profiles that are going to, fit into that culture of most sales organizations, thrive on. I think another thing that I've observed or kind of even seen by looking at some of our more seasoned, let's say, some of our sales folks that have maybe been in the business for 25 years. The ones that I'm thinking about right now, though, they are as hungry, as assertive, aggressive, and effective as they were, coming up in their career, but they do it so much more efficiently and productively. Yeah. So I think there's a little bit and that's because of technology, right? It's because of how processes have been better adapted to make, these roles more effective, how digital strategies play a role. So I think if you go back and you think 25, 30 years ago, though, the real meat eaters that achieved, you kind of had to be, because that was the only way to be successful, was just to work more hours than anybody else. Yeah. Now you can be one of the best performing salesperson, recruiters, account executive, and have 3 kids and be on other committees and, do it in 45 hours.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm going to make a general statement now. So I think you're talking about efficient. Obviously you want everybody to be effective. Right. Effective doesn't mean efficient.
That's right. When
you can get efficiently effective, man, that's when that young salesperson can make a ton of money, young or old, sure, can make a ton of money and never miss a sporting event. always seem to be on vacation. Like this guy, does this guy ever work? He sure does. But he squeezes more out of a 6-hour day than you do 3 10-hour days because he's so efficient.
Exactly. Or think and that's the thing. It's like where you get some of these, like the Marine Corps is a perfect example too. I mean, you remember my time, it was the guys that were in the Gulf War, and you're coming in and oh God, you don't know what you're talking about. But think about it in business too, like the old timers. Well, I used to make 800 calls a week, or I used to do this, and I used to do that. Well, it's stupid. You don't need to do that anymore. Why? So let's make sure that we're advancing with the capabilities to get that effective and efficient.
Yeah.
And that's a heck of a lot more of a value proposition to that new individual into the workforce.